All right, yo. How's it going, guys? Um, yeah, I'm still pretty wrecked though. I pretty much stayed up all night, just like I said, um, it and making decals channel. As well as like, I redid the podcast art, like the
Oh,
layout,
okay.
the overlay. Um,
I'm guessing
and
I'll see it soon.
I hope so. You know, I hope you.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but where the hell is it? All right, Quintessa's window. We can. I up. Yeah, I mean it should be up on the just um hold up
I don't have
crazy.
the stream up right now,
It's
so
it it'd be great. Not about it.
I know. I'll bring it up. All right, all
That'd be
right.
cool.
I'm
Yo,
multitasking.
what's
I'm
up? What's up,
multitasking.
Earth Dragon? I saw you were in
Twitch.
the you were in the stream yesterday. I was bummed I missed you.
Who be the Earth Dragon?
Earth Dragon, he's on TikTok. I think he
Oh, Chicky Boy.
yeah.
Got it.
Um I'm trying to think. I think he does like Dave Chappelle stuff.
Fucking what?
Yeah.
It's a rough time to do Dave Chappelle stuff.
Oh, why? What happened with him?
Oh, he had his Netflix special and it was all fucky.
I mean, again or
No.
okay.
Just people still mad.
Still mad?
Yeah.
Stay mad.
Yeah. I mean, it was controversial, you know,
Oh, right. Okay.
to say the least.
Um, but yeah, man. I think I think I can't remember his exact Twitch channel. I mean his TikTok, but he usually pops in.
Oh, neat.
I just shared your Twitch live, so hopefully you get more views. I appreciate it, Dragon. Hope you're having a good Sunday, man.
Awesome. So you're
Um,
just streaming crazy games
yeah, like down below.
and the podcast?
Yeah.
Mm, Weird. Okay.
Is it weird? Because I don't know if you've ever
Yeah, it's
watched.
kind of weird.
I don't know if you've ever actually watched while it's
I have.
happening. You have? Okay, because I'm always streaming somebody else's stream.
Yeah, no, I know. I've always thought it was weird.
Why?
I
I don't know.
don't know.
I figure I don't know. I figure
Did you
like
get their permission?
did I get their permission? I mean, I'm advertising them. I mean, so if you guys want to go check out this stream down here, Crazy Games, twitch.tv/Crazy Games, you can see it right there. Title. You can go check
Mm-hmm.
them out. But I don't know, man. What do you think? You think I should take it down?
Yeah, it's up to you, dude. Your stream.
Uh, my video. Oh no, my TikTok, my video duet on TikTok is blowing up. It is the only video that's reached 1,000 likes. Awesome, man. Um, but yeah, dude, how was your week, man?
This is fine. Like, nothing to really report.
No.
My cat started doing a weird thing at like 4 in the morning, like fucking clockwork, where she just jumps on my bed, raises her right paw, and just
Mm-hmm.
like pads me in the face gently and then hard to like jolt me awake. And it's very unfortunate, but really cute.
Like she like slaps you in the face with her paw.
Yeah. Yeah. But first it's just like a little prod, like a little poke, right? And
Yeah.
then just a bap. And I'm like, okay, I'm awake. And then she doesn't even seem to need anything. She just does it just cause.
Just cause
She's an old ass bitch.
does whatever she wants.
Yeah, exactly. Like when she jumps on my desk, just does what she wants.
Just like how my cat is sleeping and waits until the very moment I start streaming, and then he decides he wants to leave the room.
That makes sense. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Does it literally
The
every
the
time.
most inconvenient time.
Yeah. Now can't be a nuisance to me anymore.
Huh, you say
Um,
that, but
well, no, he'll go out and like he'll come back and scratch at the door, but if I don't come to the door, he'll eventually just go sleep somewhere.
ah, but yeah, that's about it for me. Very
I'm
uneventful.
I mean, like for whatever reason, Tigger cat, uh, he
Of
loves to
course, he's named Tigger.
go out and then come back in, back out, and then back in, and then
Yeah,
he'll do that cyclically
he,
sometimes.
he's a cat. Yeah.
The cat and then sometimes he'll scratch at the door, and then I'll open it up, and he'll just sit at like the entrance and just look at me. Like he doesn't want anything.
You know, this
Just
all sounds about standard for cat.
he just wants you to open the door so he can see you. Nothing else.
You're still here, right? Yeah, okay, cool. Me
Hey,
too.
I couldn't see you, so I had to make sure you're still here.
Yeah. Well,
Too.
my cat'll go into my room, and if I'm not in there, she'll just look around and yowl. Like, okay, you could look a little harder. I'm not always in my room, alright?
The other thing too is I think he actually might be going deaf.
Oh
Uh,
god, sometimes I wonder about my cat too.
it's either he's going deaf or
But
he
then she
just
hears the food across the room, so I know it's fine. She's just actively ignoring me.
actively not listening.
Yeah, right.
Um,
Some choice hearing, you know?
yeah, I've been there, man. But yeah, no, he kind of drives me nuts because like he'll wake me up scratching the door. So like eventually I just get so sick and tired of it that I leave the door open, and my bedroom goes right into the kitchen. So
Of
people will be up at that time.
course.
And like so basically because of the cat, I get woken up. Uh
Huh,
and
that's shitty.
it's this weird thing where it's like, I really like the cat. I want him happy, but at the same time he doesn't give a fuck if I he doesn't give a fuck about me at all. Well he does, but he doesn't. I don't know. He's a cat. Weird. Uh but anyway, man. Uh
Mhm,
I
mhm.
guess my week's been kind of weird. I've been playing a lot of Chrono Trigger.
Good. It's a great game.
Pretty much just about every day. I've been playing Chrono, and
Are you addicted?
um, I I like it. I don't know if I'm addicted. It's been a long time since I've been like addicted.
Oh, okay. I mean, you're playing it every day a lot, so, you know,
I'm playing. Yeah, I'm
makes me
playing.
think, "Hey, maybe addicted."
I'm enjoying it. Not like it's been a while since I'm like, yo, I gotta play this game. Like
Fucking
it
yeah.
but it is fun to kind of go through and learn about everything that people are talking about and
Mhm.
really understand why people love um Chrono Trigger as a game. Um the story is really good, the pacing's great, and the only downside is that there's a lot of back and forth. And that can kind of get annoying at times. Especially if you're doing like a lot of side questing. I mean, obviously they only have like five or six areas, seven.
Hey, have you gotten the epoch?
I just got it.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
Now you will know true backtracking.
yeah, no, I mean, I've already done a lot of backtracking, and I've done most of the side quests already.
Okay.
Like, I actually think it like there's 9 portals in total, and then there's also like
Yeah, something like that.
the end of the world, so it's like 10. But really, like most of them are just like different versions of like I'm pretty sure that like the
Different
monster,
spots in the same era.
yeah, yeah, like one's supposedly like a monster like town that's like across the water or something like that. And
Yes, it's on the other side of the medieval time.
yeah, except no, it's in 1000 AD. 1000 AD. Um
Mhm.
yeah. That's 1000 AD. So well, there is another time where like it's like there's 600 AD, but they look the exact same. Like the island structure and the way the town looks is the same. They just rearrange things slightly, and it's supposed to be in a different part of the supposed to be in a different island altogether. Anyway, it's kind of dumb, but
Kinda dumb.
anyway, like yeah, they look the same, and at first I thought the monster island was actually like a different hold on.
Of course.
Um so anyway, like I
Isn't the monster one where you come out of the people's closet?
yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah,
one of
yeah,
them.
okay.
Yeah, that's the monster one. But that's 1000 AD.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
okay.
just I think it's called Medina or something like that. Name of the
Yeah,
village.
that's basically like the Middle Ages type time.
Oh no, that well that's Chronos present day, but I mean it's not 1999 or you know what I mean, uh
Yeah, yeah.
or 2100 or some shit. Um, but yeah, it's kind of interesting how by the end of the game they connect everything together, and then you realize like where like all the people came from that you encountered and why everything's so strange. Um, and
Whole whole world kinda fucky.
the whole world was kind of fucky, and you know, you learn where uh Magus came from,
Yes, yes, you do.
and you know, like I mean, makes sense, but
You learn that, like, they knew that Lavos was coming,
everyone knew.
and yeah, but, like, the people of Zeal super knew.
Um, well, yeah, but they also thought that I mean, I don't know if anybody cares about a game that's over 30 years old, but I'm gonna talk about it.
Spoilerinos.
I haven't beaten it yet, but I'm real close. So the way they made it sound was they thought that like Lavos was a prophet to kind of take energy from, um, because you know they had like a different sunstone and moonstone, but basically
Mhm.
they were just using that, you know, they were using that as an excuse to like revive Lavos. Um, and I think the whole idea was that it was kind of confusing because I at first, what was that new dude's name, Dalton?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I thought Dalton was like gonna wind up being Magus or something like that. Like,
Ah.
I think that would have been cooler. Like, you know, like imagine like Magus is kind of like a lame magic person, and then he turns into a badass by like the end of it. That would have been cooler than like him being like the little boy of whatever the hell her.
I don't know. I I liked him just being the little boy.
of
It
the
gave it gave more, like, gravitas to Zeal as a whole, I felt.
yeah, I mean, and obviously he's like basically the Prince of Zeal. Um,
Yeah.
and I think obviously the Queen was being used by Dalton and uh yeah, Dalton to kind of summon Lavos.
Yeah.
And the whole thing was kind of confusing, but anywho, um,
Any hoozles.
any
Yep.
hoozles. So basically, um, god damn it, dude, what the hell? I had a point. I was gonna talk about something, but yeah. So like, and the like the main character Chrono like sacrifices himself, kind of to bring
Yup.
everybody back, like to get them back to sea, which I don't completely understand how he did, but I don't even know if they're gonna explain it. I'm sure they probably
Uh,
will.
basically, he just ate the entire attack.
Just ate the entire attack to like so like they had to like he literally got
So that they could
obliterated.
get the fuck out. Yeah, so that they get the fuck out. He ate the entire attack.
Yeah. And honestly, like it still kind of blows my mind because where I'm at right now, there's like 3 chapters left, and I'm like, how are they gonna fill out 3 chapters of the game? Um, because I mean, it really feels like they're kind of stretching it, with the whole like the Blackbird and everything like that, and how
Mhm.
we're basically like we're trapped in the Blackbird, and then we gotta find our items, and it's like, come, I don't. I don't want to do this. I just want to like, and Dalton's pretty much just like a jobber chump, and uh, I don't know, man. I just wasn't.
He he's kind of a jobber,
He is a jobber.
but he brings the mech, fuck, what's the name of it?
The Epoch, the Blackbird.
N no, 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 no. Uh, it's a boss.
Oh, the Goblin thing.
Goblin thing?
Yeah, like the one that you fight on
No,
on top of the plane, or
I guess it's a goblin thing? I don't remember it being a goblin thing.
on top of the plane.
Yeah, on top of the plane.
If it happens after that, then I haven't seen it. So, um, but either way, like the game is very easy too. That's another thing. I
Yeah,
think
the game's pretty easy.
it's pretty damn easy for like an RPG. Um, and I think I struggled with like maybe
Yeah,
one,
the golem. Okay, yeah, the golem.
the Golem. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I think
goblin. I was like, goblin? What?
sorry,
Goblin.
yeah. Um,
Then I started thinking about what he actually looks like, and I'm like, well, yeah, he's kind of like goblin-esque.
I will say that it is a much better game than like Secret of Mana. I've ever played or beat Secret of Mana.
Oh, I love Secret of Mana. Yeah. I
So
mean, if you want a real good Secret of Mana, Secret of Mana 2.
Secret of Mana 2. I'm talking about one though, because I can't.
Yeah.
I mean, two
I
came out.
liked I liked 1. It was oddly designed though. Like it had these super weird, like insane difficulty spikes.
So here's the thing. Okay, so this is the thing is that game is not finished. Um,
Secret
and
of Mana?
yeah, Secret of Mana is not finished. Like not completely. Like it could probably use like another 6 months to a year, maybe. I mean, I don't know how shit worked back Super
Yeah,
Nintendo
maybe.
days, but I'll explain to you why they had difficulty spikes, right? So
Uh-huh, sure.
so the problem was that um god damn, what the name was it, what the fuck's the main character's name? The dude. Um
Oh god, mm, my brain's failing me. I don't know, Secret of Mana guy?
Secret of Mana guy. Anyway, so in Secret of Mana, the
What is his
weapons,
name?
the sword, the sword sucks. sword does terrible damage. Even if you buff it with magic.
Randy.
Randy, yeah. Oh, that's right, yeah, his
There
name.
we go.
Um, so,
With an eye.
oh right. So the sword does terrible damage on bosses. They're only,
Except for one.
I mean, isn't that like the last boss or something like that?
The Mana Beast.
Yeah, the Mana Beast. But even then, like it does that really just using raw magic is how you beat the game. Like if you like let's
Oh
say
yeah,
you
man. Really strong.
if you use an ice beast, okay, you're wasting your time using Randy. You just need to be going over to like either, Sprite or the other girl Lori or something like that, and spamming magic at the so basically the way it should have been programmed was that, like, weaponry would have made a difference, but it really doesn't make that big of a difference, and a lot of times that's why you get those difficulty spikes, because you're trying to hit them with a sword when really,
That's fair.
like, you just need to be spamming magic, and that's how you beat the entire game. um and the only
Well,
reason.
one difficulty spike I can think of in particular
Uh-huh.
is near the end of the game where you're going through the Mana Forest and you fight like that centipede thing. And that centipede thing
Hmm.
has an odd ability where if it hits you,
Yeah.
you get shrunk. And so if you don't have the anti-shrink item, you deal 0 damage and it
Oh
just
yeah.
keeps shrinking you in
Yep.
a loop and you just lose that fight. That's it. It's just over if you get shrunk.
It's been so long since I've actually beaten it. Like, I think, well, it's been a couple of years, but
It's
uh
just an asshole.
because I bought the Secret of Mana for the collection for the
Oh,
Switch.
okay.
I bought it for the Switch and I just beat one. Um
Yeah.
and then that's when I
That
realized
had 2 that had 2 on it, right? It had
it,
2.
it
Did it have
might,
Evermore on it?
I don't know, it has like some Game Boy ones on it, I think.
Oh, it has some ew.
Yeah.
Oh,
So like
ew.
so like the
That sucks.
so like the Final Fantasy like Advanced or whatever those games are for the Game Boy, those are actually Secret of Mana games. They just renamed them in the States. Um but anyway, but yeah, that's when I found out that that game was broken, and then you beat everything by spamming magic, and like you're not using magic, then you're wasting your time. And the thing is that during certain late game bosses, you start to run out of magic, right?
Mana Beast.
So you have to have these nuts, right? And
Yup.
and your team can only carry 5 nuts at a time.
Yeah, and you're just choking down these nuts.
And so basically you have to completely ignore the white magic girl or not, whichever. She's just meant for healing now. And then you use Sprite and you just feed them all of the nuts. But the fact that,
Yep.
you only have 5 is so limiting to, like, it's the only reason that the game's hard is because they only give you so many nuts to carry at a time.
Yeah.
Um
Well, there's also the quirk, I guess, of the Mana Beast fight, where you have to constantly be using the Mana Sword spell
yeah, to like
to
make
like
it
properly
weak to
damage.
damage. Yeah, I
Yeah, to
remember.
properly damage it,
Hmm.
and that costs a lot of mana. So that's extra annoying.
Yeah,
Like it just has a bunch of super weird design decisions.
yep.
I don't think it's a bad game or anything. I think it's a solid game still, but
Uh,
it's
um,
just
yeah, yeah.
it's just got quite a few issues.
But then when you take into fact that, like, you have the whole magic problem where, like, the magic sword really doesn't do shit even if you buff it with like ice against a fire creature, like, or some creatures like that fly, you can't even use sword or weaponry at all, and
Mhm.
and then what else? Fucking uh the fact that they reuse bosses, like you fight after like the first 20 bosses you start fighting the same boss but like the ice version of it or the fire version of it,
Indeed, the palette
and
swaps.
yeah, they basically just palette swap the characters and give them like fire, ice, weakness, or strength, and it just starts to get kind of, you realize that like at some point they're like, fuck, we're running out of game, and like they didn't have time to quite finish the game to where it should have been. um but yeah, I mean, I think I think it's an okay game. I don't think it's bad, but I think like in terms of like comparing it to Chrono Trigger's a way better game.
I mean, Chrono Trigger's still probably my favorite RPG. I
Like
I love Chrono Trigger.
Chrono Trigger makes Secret of Mana look like ass in
Oh,
comparison.
it does that for a lot of RPGs.
Like I think Chrono
And it's
Trigger,
it's so weird because it's so old, right? You'd think, like, the story would be just kinda meh, the characters just be kinda meh, but really, it's super well put together, like, I don't know.
right? Yeah. Chrono Trigger? Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, I think they basically made sure to flesh out the story first, and then they did
Yeah.
everything around it, and then um, but I honestly think like
The
a lot of
Super
the,
Nintendo had a bunch of banger RPGs, so, makes sense.
yeah, they did. Um, Another game that I really want to try is Illusion of Gaia.
Ah, yes, I was just gonna say Illusions of Gaia is another really good one. And
That's
Terranigma is really good.
I never played. Did you ever play Evo?
Evo?
Search for Eden?
Hmm, possibly, it sounds kinda familiar.
So here's the thing. That game is also, that's like a that's a game that's like more unfinished than Secret of Mana,
Huh.
and it's a game made by SquareSoft. Um,
Why would
so
Square finish a game when people buy unfinished games?
I mean, during the Super Nintendo, like, okay, so
It's the strat.
okay, so I actually beat Evo, but I got so tired of the game by the end of it
Ah.
that I had to use cheats to will my to
Oh,
will myself to beat the
you
game.
cheating bitch.
Okay,
How dare.
I'm not saying that like I'm just saying like it's just not good. It's it's like the game has like like three songs. I'm not kidding. It has three songs in it. And so when you go like to the next world, you're like, "Oh yeah, the song's probably going to change, right?" Nope, same song. And you like you progress through like the like as an amoeba, and then you go up to be fish, and then you hit the ground, and then you kind of evolve and become a lizard, you know what I mean, and so on and so forth, and then you become a dinosaur eventually, and then you become a caveman. um and the whole point is to make it back to eat, because you want to be with your waifu Mana. I'm not
Of
kidding.
course.
I'm not kidding, like the
It's always quest for waifu.
yeah, I'm not, I mean, so the Mana herself, like you want to be in like heaven with Mana. And so anyway, I wound up playing through the game, and the game kept getting more and more ridiculous and more bullshit, and it got
More and more ridiculous bullshit.
yep, and it got more boring, and I kind of just hit the point where I'm like, all right, I just don't care, but I want to see what happens at the end. And boy, does it get even crazier. So eventually get to the end and fight this giant goo creature, as like the like I don't know, like, in Legend of Zelda how they have those gems to represent like each area, um um like an Ocarina of Time.
The young Link ones?
Not the young Link ones, the adult Link one.
Oh, the medallions?
Yeah, the medallions. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You gotta get like all eight of them or something.
Yeah.
So this game has
One for each temple.
similar to that, where like obviously it's per area, and the last boss is literally like a giant amoeba who like attacks you with uh the medallions at the end of his he was easier than every boss in the game. So you basically you beat him. I don't know, man. There's also a part where like so because of the cheats you can max out your stats, and this allows you to jump really high. It allowed me to jump
The
high
good jumps.
allowed me to jump high enough to where I could reach space. And I saw a flying saucer. And then I jumped on said flying saucer and killed it.
Whoops.
Um and then it like
Aliens did not like that.
nope, it crash landed.
Hmm.
But so this game is just so weird. I don't think I
Sounds
even
pretty weird.
yeah, I don't even think I told you like
Still doesn't sound as weird as Earthbound, but
oh no,
it's
well,
definitely weird.
Earthbound's a better game.
I mean, Earthbound's a great game.
Yeah, it's a pretty good game.
Also one of the weirdest games I've played. Like it's nonsensical.
what parts are
Like
particularly
some of the puzzles, like how you have to remove the giant eraser or whatever. I think it is. Oh, there's like a giant obstacle you have to remove, and it's like the most nonsensical solution.
it's just a giant
It's
eraser.
I can't remember what it is.
Isn't it
It's been
like
so long. It's been so long since I played that game.
yeah, there's like weird parts where there's zombies for some reason at one point in the game, and then there's like you have to fight the police at the police station.
I mean,
Uh,
you're also children with psychic powers, so
yeah, yeah, that's true. I think that has something to do with like
In the beginning, I wasn't even sure if it was real or make believe. I'm like, are these kids imagining all this shit happening?
it really seems like it, but that and your
But
dad.
then you get to the end of the game and you're like, "Oh, well this is interesting."
No, you just like you become super powered because like
No,
you
you don't. You
at
become your weakest.
what?
You literally can't damage the last boss in Earthbound.
Oh no, you have to. Well, you have to
You
become
have to
part
get
of
the
this.
prayers.
Yeah, you have to become the prayers. But what I'm saying is like before that, like Ness unlocks like his like psychic abilities, like becomes aware,
Yeah.
or something like that. And then you gotta basically pray the last boss away.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you can't damage him, so like
No.
also
Uh
you're a robot
yeah, you have to transfer your
because
soul into
yeah,
robots.
because your human form can't exist on that like plane or whatever. It's like, "Oh, all right, so now I'm a robot."
Yep. Yeah, that's true. Um
And
and
the
then
last boss is spooky as hell.
yeah.
Like, you try to damage it, it gives you, like, a cryptic message, and you're like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. 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 I can't remember
It's
his
like
name.
the hopelessness engulfs you or some shit, and I'm like, "Oh, well, Jesus."
Actually took me a few times.
It's wild. It's very cool.
Yeah, it took me a few times to actually beat that last boss. I was like, am I doing
Makes
this
sense.
wrong? Or,
Mm.
like I couldn't imagine like being in the 90s and just sitting there and being like, well, I can't hurt him. I guess I gotta pray.
Yup.
Well, they do
Here I
kind of
go praying again.
they do say that you pray in the boss battle. Um,
Yes.
I can't remember her
It's
name, but
weird.
yeah.
It's super weird.
And then you have a kid who like builds bottle rockets, and like you know those are super damaging. Actually,
Yo.
he kind of becomes useless near the end of the game, but still,
How dare you?
he doesn't do as much
Yeah, no,
damage.
he doesn't. It's true, but yeah, that's what you deal with.
Yeah, wasn't there? And then you don't even get your last party member until like way late in the game, like before you almost fight the last boss altogether.
Mm, I thought who were you thinking of as the last party member?
Uh, the monk kid, where you
Yeah,
basically
okay.
you meet. Well, so like that's the thing is like,
His intro was creepy too.
yeah, I can't remember his intro.
Oh, basically he's like meditating
Mm.
and like an entity comes to him and he's like, "What will you give up?" And you choose like your hearing, like you can no longer hear. Like, what else will you give up? You're like your sight. You can no longer see, and like it just goes for a little bit and you're like, okay, what the fuck's this game trying to do?
Yeah, it's I don't
And
know.
then you awake from your meditation and you've like become enlightened basically
Yeah, I mean,
because you gave up everything,
uh, whoever wrote that game was on drugs.
right?
Um, but yeah, I remember really enjoying it. But honestly, it follows a lot of the same beats as Trigger when I think about it. Because like, think about it. You know you like the kid who like there's all these enlightened beings, like the people in Zeal, and then you got to go back to a prehistoric time with dinosaurs and stuff. Like I kept thinking that when I was playing Chrono Trigger, I'm like, there's a lot of like similarities between Earthbound, and then there's like a big snowed area
Yeah.
with like beasts and stuff, and you gotta like I don't know travel across the land. And also they call the people below Zeal, they call them the Earthbound. I was like, is this a reference that I don't know about? Like,
I don't know
uh,
the chronological order, so quite possibly.
yeah,
Unlikely though. I don't know.
yeah, okay, yeah, fair enough. Uh,
When did you really get into Chrono Trigger? Like, at what point? Because
oh,
I
what?
remember the first point when I was just like, "Holy shit, this game's amazing." For myself, personally.
Um, I don't know if I've actually come to the conclusion amazing.
Interesting, okay.
Like I said, I like it. I don't know
Mhm.
if I love it. Um, like it's very hard for me to like love a game anymore. Like there like the only games that really like impacted me hard are like ones
You
that
you jaded motherfucker.
I got like emotional over. Uh
Uh-huh.
like Ocarina of Time being one of them, and there's like other games too. I can't even think like I mean I got kind of emotional over Final Fantasy 6 because I had never
Yeah, Final Fantasy 6 hits hard.
final like because I had never beaten it. But I mean they have like a really happy ending. I was expecting somebody to die, but it didn't happen either. And then 7, I'd say definitely 7 I got really emotional over.
Mhm.
And I don't know, I think that's pretty much it as of right now. Like
You know what my favorite part of 6 is?
um,
How it flips the script on, like, the heroes saving the day. Like, you literally just get slaughtered and just sent to different parts of the world.
oh at
When
the
when, uh when he first comes to power, you're like, "Oh, okay, I have to rebuild."
yep.
That's fucking wild.
Oh yeah, you mean the part where they're like, "Oh yeah, and all these people committed suicide because like
Yeah, because
they
the heroes lost and
the heroes lost and they realized it was the end of days, and and they jumped off people jumped off of cliffs and stuff, and it was like, "Oh wow, this is
yep.
super dark." And then you realize that the earth itself is dying because they show you like all these dead animals, and the fact that certain animals that were fine before couldn't just maintain daily living or maintain a battle against you without just broken dead.
Yeah,
um
yeah.
and the fish washing up dead on the sea. But anyway,
Yeah, because you lost.
because
Evil won.
yeah, I mean,
Crazy.
you did what you could. I mean, there really wasn't a whole lot you could have done to it's not like Avengers Endgame where I mean, have you seen Avengers End?
Yeah.
Where there's like clearly one point where it's like, oh yeah, this is like Star-Lord's fault that any of this happened. Hope you know that. Like, if it wasn't for Star-Lord, like being dude,
Disagree, but it's fine.
I'm telling you, man. If Star-Lord didn't get emotional and start smacking Thanos, then they would have won. They had him.
Why?
What do you mean? Because
Like,
he's
how do you figure?
okay, so in the movie, they right, the Mantis has Thanos like distracted, whatever, like has him controlled,
Yeah.
and then they're about to pull off Thanos's glove, and Tony Stark's talking to Star-Lord, and he's like, "Yo, we gotta focus right now. We almost have his glove off," and they almost do. They almost have his glove off, and then once Mantis goes through his memories and says that he's mourning the death of Gamora, then Star-Lord realizes, oh, Gamora's dead. So then he starts punching him in the face and yelling at him, and then he comes to from Mantis's uh like distraction spell. So basically,
Mhm.
because he lost his shit about Gamora dying, which is reasonable, right? Because
Understandable,
she
yes.
became the Soul Stone. Thanos got his glove back, and then used his ability to teleport back to what is it, Kanda, and then he stole the Soul Stone, or the Soul Stone, no, not the Mind Stone, maybe from uh
Oh,
Vision.
man, I don't remember.
Vision. He stole the stone from Vision, and then basically he was able to snap his
Vision has the
fingers.
mind. Yeah,
Yeah,
Vision has the Mind Stone.
yeah. He stole the Mind Stone from Vision, and then was able to delete half the population.
Yeah.
So it's basically Star Lord's
That's
fault.
fair.
I
Yeah.
hope you like again. Like the movie was about to end right there. Like in when they
I
showed his
mean,
when they
you
showed
could also say it's Thor's fault, right? Then?
oh, for not going for his head.
Yeah.
Um,
If you wanna get some technicality here going, some little what ifs.
yeah, but like I hear you. I really do, but like the glove was like fingertips off. Like
Yeah, but so was
like
his shoulder.
uh well, I mean he actually he went for his heart and he was puncturing his heart
Mhm.
when he like I don't know, and he's like, you should have went for the head, and then it's, oh, and he snaps his
Yeah,
fingers. And
yeah.
but I don't know. I mean I guess you could blame Thor, but I mean I personally don't, because he at least almost killed him. And it wasn't like he had all five stones, and he just did what he could do. And then but you think about it, like he only had four stones when they were fighting, uh when Star-Lord was fighting him. And so basically they were nullifying the threat before it became real. Like, I mean, it was already pretty threatening. Like
Yeah.
at any point, um Thanos could have just like snapped his fingers and turned them all into bubbles. He'd never.
No, it's just
It kind of makes you
he
think
was
like,
he was just kinda fucking around.
well, yeah,
Honestly, he was just fucking around. He was
yeah,
just doing whatever. He's like, "Man, these powers are neat."
yep. Um, but I just sort of think like, I don't understand how, like, I understand that Star Lord was upset, but I don't
Mhm.
understand how they could have like gone through they fought him, and like the five or six of them struggled to just stop him from moving to get a glove off, and he's like, nah, I'ma hit him. Hey, you know what I mean? Like, it just didn't.
Yo, this face, it's so punchable.
Yo, he killed my girlfriend, I'm mad. And then it's just like, what? Sorry, what are you gonna do to him? He just gonna. I mean, he was, and mind you, Mantis was saying at the time, "Oh, he's coming too. We need to do this right now." And then Starlight's like, "Oh, he's coming too. Let me speed that up." Boom, starts punching him. That's why I get upset. Why I blame Star. You know. But anyway. Uh, but yeah, man. But to go back to your question about Chrono Trigger,
Mhm.
I don't. I haven't exactly had the point where I'm like, oh yeah, I love this game. I just love the combat
Oh,
system.
okay.
I think
It is really good.
it's fun. I like the combat system. Uh,
Double text, triple text.
yeah,
It's really
triple.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah. That's I think it's my favorite part. It's fun. I like grinding other characters to like earn more techs and everything. It makes it more It makes it, you know what I mean, more fighting.
Yeah. Engaging.
Yeah, it makes it more engaging.
Yeah.
Because I don't even have
And the enemies,
everyone's.
like, move around and stuff.
Oh yeah,
And
like
then
the
there's some hidden triple attacks.
yes, yeah. I haven't even touched those yet because I've just been doing all main storylines.
Ah.
Um, which yeah, I mean, so I don't know, like I've enjoyed it and I've had fun, but and I think it's a good game. I just don't know if I love it.
Mhm.
I
Okay,
I think
that's
I
fair.
I think it's up there with like my love for like Final Fantasy VII remake, but um yeah, I
I
haven't.
didn't care much for the remake. I'm in the weird camp. Oh, no.
No, I liked it. Is what I'm saying is like
Yeah.
I don't think it's as good as the original, but I I just enjoyed it. I didn't, you know what I mean? I didn't love it. Um Honestly, the last game that I really loved was Resident Evil 2 remake. That was the last game that I was like, "Oh fuck yeah, I want to play that." You know what I mean? I played through it a couple of times.
Yeah, that game's really good.
I mean, I beat it with both characters, and then I played it again and beat it with both characters
If
again.
only Nemesis was any good.
Oh, you mean Mr. X?
No, no, Nemesis.
Oh, you're talking about in 3.
Yeah, yeah. Like, 2 was so good, and then
Yeah.
3 was just kinda, eh,
3 was rushed.
eh.
Like
3
it
was 3 was kinda boring.
the I think the thing that kind of shook me was that they literally made the same exact mistake that they made with the last Resident Evil.
Mhm.
So I don't know if you know this, but a lot of people don't really like Resident Evil 3, like the original, um, because they this is what happened. Resident Evil 2 came out and it was a big hit. So you know what they did? They're like, "Fuck, we gotta make a Resident Evil 3. This shit's making money." So then they took the RE2
Making
engine,
stacks, no cap.
they took the original RE2 engine, and then they made RE3 with it, and they tried to rush it out for I think the holiday season.
Makes sense.
Okay,
Who
this
wouldn't?
pretty much the same exact thing happened with RE3. Like they rushed it out because RE2 remake was a big hit, and a lot of people weren't really feeling it because of that. And there were also a lot of people were mad too that like the RE3 remake was missing a lot of stuff. Supposedly, I mean, I never played
It wasn't
RE3.
missing a huge amount, but
Like I guess
well, I guess technically it was. It was missing 2 entire zones, so it was missing about the first fourth of the game,
right.
but the game wasn't that long, right? So I don't know.
No,
It's kind of hard to.
it was way shorter than which the original was too.
Yeah, I think RE2 is one of the longer ones, isn't it?
RE2, I
Yeah, Resident Evils in general aren't
Yeah, they're
super long.
they're not very long. Um,
Village is also quite short.
yeah, it's pretty damn short. Oh, speaking of which, I
That
didn't.
that was kind of disappointing
Yeah, Village. I
that it was
agree.
so short. I liked Village.
Yeah,
I just wished that the difficulty wasn't just, oh, now things like have all the bullet sponge. But then once you get better guns, it doesn't matter anyway. So like
right.
it only makes the beginning of the game harder, and the rest of it's pretty much the same.
Yeah,
Some flawed difficulty scaling.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. That was weird. Like the beginning part was like really like it was tough to kind of
Yeah, it
get
was
started.
super hard to like survive that initial like onslaught in the village.
Yeah,
But then after you got some guns under your belt, it was still just a cakewalk.
yeah. That I mean, I feel like that's literally every Resident Evil though. Is that it starts and then it's difficult and then it gets way easier once you start getting guns. That's Resident Evil
That might be
4.
true.
That's Resident
Yeah.
Evil 4 in a nutshell too.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Have speaking of Resident Evil and Resident Evil like games, have you played Tormented Souls?
no,
Oh, that's a really good game. It's Resident Evil like in one of the old schools.
like a clone.
Yeah, kind of.
Um,
I'd recommend you check it out if you feel like playing that kind of game.
what's it for?
Steam, PlayStation 4,
Oh,
etc. It's newer. It's a newer game,
oh right. Did
but
you
but it's just like an homage kind of.
did you see that that new Souls like game that they came out with? That's like literally a rip off of Bloodborne.
Liza P.
Yeah, I think it's something like that. Been a bit.
We kind of saw some gameplay of it, and it's not exactly Bloodborne. It's kind of its own things. Yeah.
Um,
So it's not as catastrophic as it seemed.
have you ever heard of like a game called Vampire Knight?
Vampire Knight?
I think it's called Vampire
No.
Knight. Vamp-
I know an anime named Vampire Knight.
it might be a P. Okay, so this Vampire Knight's like a side-scrolling shooter, not side-scrolling, but was it like a light gun game? That's not what I'm thinking of. Vampire. It's like a Resident Evil rip-off game. Vampire
Huh.
PS1.
I don't know. Is
Countdown
it based on the
Vampire.
anime?
Yeah, it's called Countdown Vampire.
Countdown Vampire?
Yeah. Um,
Nope, never heard of it.
it's
Sounds weird.
it is weird.
Weird title for sure.
Basically, it's kind of like got some vibes of Parasite Eve,
Oh, I love Parasite Eve.
where like people start like
Shame there's only one good game.
second one not good.
It's okay. I don't know. I just really liked the first one. And Third Birthday was awful.
Yeah, well, I mean that's what a lot.
Yeah.
But basically, like the game starts off, and it has this big like 3D cutscene where everybody starts transforming into vampires, and um, people are
Huh.
dying. And it has very like really
Neat.
really bad voice acting. Ooh,
Ah,
uh, how about
perfect.
how about a game called oh my god, Stinger?
Blue Stinger? Definitely not. No.
Stinger for the Dreamcast.
Oh, I have very limited Dreamcast experience.
Okay, well, I might have to play that game. It's super weird. There's a dude um called what's his name? It's called like I think it's like Bulldog or something like that. Um
Bulldog? Okay.
yeah, his name is like name it's wild. It just has like really bad voice acting and like the intro is nuts. Uh, okay, find a thing of it. What are they calling you?
No.
Oh,
It was one of my alarms.
um, but yeah, it's basically like an old survival horror game. Um, where it has like aliens and stuff in it, and like there's something called Dinosaur Island and all this kind of fucking crazy stuff. Uh,
Dinosaur Island. All right.
yeah. Um,
Maybe you'll find Alo there.
Ayla. Oh right, yeah. Wait, wasn't there like a part or like a character, like a prehistoric character that was on your team found?
I don't remember one.
Like a caveman?
I don't remember one. I mean, I only remember fragments of Earthbound, so it's been a long time.
There's a part where you have to fight dinosaurs. A
Wouldn't
T
doubt it.
like a T-Rex, like you gotta run from him. And he's ginormous. Just off
Ginormous.
or of dinosaur. But yeah, it was pretty dope. Uh,
Sounds pretty metal, dude.
it is pretty metal. I'm trying to think if there's other than playing Chrono
Oh
Trigger.
damn, cycling back to that.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you sound to be
Oh!
playing Path of Exile.
What? No, I'm not.
I don't
Why
even
would
know
I
what
do
you're
that?
doing. You're just like slapping buttons over there. I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm messing with some Path of Exile shit. I'm not playing
Yay!
Path of Exile. I'm multitasking,
Oh
alright?
yeah, yeah. Whatever,
I am
man.
fully invested in the conversation.
Oh man. So
Yeah.
what were you saying?
Anyway, so like my to circle back to the Chrono Trigger moment that like was just like, oh man, this game is fucking amazing. Was actually when you go to the future and you learn what the fuck happened. And you get to like watch Lavos like come out of the ground and just shit on the entire earth. I thought that was the coolest thing ever.
Are you talking about when Zeal falls? That point, or
No, the pre-recorded video in the future on the console.
I don't know if I saw that. Might have saw it and probably just half paid attention. Like
Rip.
I remember seeing the meteor land. Um,
Well, yeah, but that was
and then basically
that
he
wasn't.
caused the ice age.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, that's the other thing. It kind of reminded me of Evo at that part because you had to like fight those lizard people. You know, because they're like either the
Lizard.
humans, yeah, like
Huh.
the
Okay.
Azila or something like that is the character's name. Where they're like either the lizards will win or the humans will win. This is the
The lizards
destiny.
will win, the humans will win. It's the
Yeah,
ultimate fight of ultimate destiny.
that's the that's Isla's storyline. Um, like
Kinda, yeah.
gotta fight against that lizard person. Like got other lizards, and they're like the lizards will rule the world, and secretly they do though.
Yeah, they kinda do, right?
Yeah, saying.
Just saying, dude.
I'm
Lizard
not
people.
listen. I'm not a
Shake my
conspiracy
head.
theorist, but
But
people. 7-Eleven was an outside job. Peasants.
yeah, what ups? I'm not even honoring that. Were you expecting a response? Cause you ain't getting
I just, honestly, I think you're more distracted than you are like
uh-uh.
not.
7-Eleven was an inside job. I'm not even gracing that. No. I
My
refuse.
God. Uh,
I refuse to acknowledge that joke just happened.
um, but, but anyway, So there's a part in uh freaking there's a whole part of Evo that is like about that, about the lizards like fighting the mammals or something dumb like that to see who rules.
Something dumb like that.
That game fucking sucks. But like
I
it's
I can hear
interesting.
your, like, animosity towards it, like, "Man, that shit ass game,
Oh
wasted my
man,
goddamn time.
it was there
Shoulda
was
just looked
yeah.
up the end on YouTube."
I yeah, well, it was my roommates who convinced me to keep playing.
Wow.
Because they love to see me in pain and they love to see the jank of the game. Like there's a part where you fight a giant frog and like giant
Of
frog
course you do.
has little frog babies that jump out of it and it's gross. And like
Why? It's just frog babies. I don't
but
understand.
they're jumping out of like the holes in its back. And
Oh, that's
like
kinda weird. Alright,
yeah,
fair enough.
I don't know. Anyway, so like
Criticism sounds very valid.
the whole thing is that like the frog won't stop fucking jumping and throwing babies, so it will just keep hitting you over the head. But you have to jump on top of it to damage it. So you gotta jump on top of its babies and jump on top of it, and basically kill it. But yeah,
That's gross.
yeah. I mean, and I tell you, uh, rough. Um, but yeah, and the other kind of aspect of Evo that's strange is that you have to use evolution as your weapons. Like you can increase your fin speed to swim faster, or you can increase your bite, or you know what I mean, or you can have your like instead of having a bite, you can have like
So
a
weird.
swordfish nose. And let's say you're about to die, right? You're lowering
Uh-huh.
life. Don't have items, have evo points. So what you do is you
Of
actually
course you do.
you de-evolve yourself so that
What?
yeah, you de-evolve yourself. So like let's say you get like a swordfish nose, real thing you can get instead of a bite.
Okay, of course. Yeah,
And
why not?
you're about to die. You de-evolve yourself to get rid of your nose, and then your life gauge fills back up.
It's so stupid.
And the way you get like life points and evo points, you eat things. Like so if you're a predator, you can only eat their animals, and you know what I mean, and you get more evo points. Or if you're like a
Mhm.
herbivore, you have to eat plants. And we tell you, if you make yourself into an herbivore, but you can't there's like certain forms that have difficulty reaching like the fruit on the trees if you're not jumping. So like there's like builds that are
This
like
game
in
sounds like a fever dream.
there are builds that are incompatible with
Mhm.
with one another. And yeah.
Okay.
And I mean not to mention there are aliens and cavemen and you can also turn into a dragon because that's part of evolution too. And
Yeah, no, I remember dragons, yeah.
yeah, I
It's a sh
mean
it was a shame that they were all killed off in the Middle Ages,
there
but it's
there
cool.
there's also like much like in at Chrono Trigger there's that the zeal. There's like a zeal um
Oh,
in
okay.
evolution, yeah, where there's like these like smart people and stuff like that, and you can only and you can actually like have builds of like that you can copy in. So like if you wanted to have the
I
dragon
wonder if
build,
people speedrun this pile of garbage.
I mean probably and
People speedrun everything, so I'm
yep.
I'm just assuming yes.
And the like you can activate a dragon build, but it only works temporarily. So
Huh,
eventually
okay.
you undigivolve into like the lesser form that you were before, but it like takes evo point, like so you can't like sustain it for a long period of time. Um, Not to mention near the end, there's also a caveman at the top of a mountain, who literally has a giant bat. Okay, not fucking
Of
kidding.
course he does.
This
Of
is the
course he fucking
this
does.
is the boss before the boss. You don't have to fight him. You can skip him if you want. Okay, you get all the way to the top of the mountain, right? And this is like pretty like arduous climb, right? Get all the way to the top. This man takes his giant bat, swings it at you, and basically hits you like
Okay.
a baseball off the mountain all the way back to the bottom.
Because you don't deserve to be at the top of the mountain.
That is his job. Okay? His job is to swing at you and knock you all the way down to the end. And this is like last like near the end of the game,
Sounds like a
last
fun job, honestly.
near the end of the game, last boss tactics. Okay? Like
Last
this is
boss
this is
tact.
this is this is what this is the person you fight before you enter the cave for the last boss.
He literally comes in swinging.
He does. And you can jump over him. You don't even have to fight him. If
Oh,
you can jump over him, you know it's like Bowser. Like you can just pass him. And like you know what I mean?
okay.
Um but mind you, he hit me off the top of that mountain like 10 times. Um but yeah, like that and that's when I knew that game was fucked. Not to mention
Sounds annoying, honestly.
not
Doesn't
to
even sound fun, it just sounds annoying.
at some point you just realize like how jank it is and you're like, "Wow, this is a game by Squaresoft, right?" And then it actually might have been like Square Enix's first game, I think. But yeah,
I mean, that doesn't excuse it.
right. But you basically realize like how incompatible the game is and like and how jank things are and how the evolutions don't all fit together.
Well, maybe
Um
that's intended, right?
I mean, I think I think so, yeah. Um but you don't know that until you like evolve and then de-evolve and it's like this whole process where then once you de-evolve and you like and evolve you run out of evo points, so then you have to go grind enemies again to be able to pass a certain point.
Mhm.
So like let's say a boss kills you, it starts you over and back of the like the beginning of a level, and then you have to go through this one field and eat a bunch of berries like 100 times until you get like 2,000 Evo points.
Yeah, right, go eating berries again.
Um, yeah, so the grind, your ability to grind an area is important. So like, let's say you're like, hey, I want these legs, but they're like 3,000, and I only have 4,000. Oh, look, I need to grind another 4,000 to get a new mouth, and then you gotta go grind. You know what I mean? It's grinding for the sake of
Of
hey, we need to waste time. This game is not long enough.
just gotta pad this out a little bit, Ski. It'll be fine. They won't even notice.
Right, which is why a big part of it that I hated was which is why I wound up cheating and just using cheats and getting the like unlimited Evo points so I could try everything and just speed run the rest of the game.
Uh huh.
And like I said, you can max out the jump, and I jumped up the space, the fucking space, and then
Space.
happened to land on an alien spaceship where I crashed it and it died. Which I was not expecting. This game's so fucking weird, dude. I don't
The
know, man.
aliens hated that.
They didn't like it. Um, but anyway, I was the one. I wasn't the amoeba. It was me who got to be with Mana-chan. So they can suck my dick.
One true waifu, Mana-chan.
Literally the beginning of the game is this anime waifu girl who appears to you, and she's like, "We need the I want you to be together, and so I've given you the ability to evolve so that you can we can join together in heaven or something like that." It really doesn't make any sense, but hey, no, I'm not. I didn't make the game. Like basically, what I'm saying is, at surface level, it seems like it's great, but once you get into it, it's like, oh man, this game sucks ass. You ever had a game like that before?
It sucks ass.
Like
I mean,
it's
I've played plenty of games that just suck ass.
Yeah, but it starts off and it seems like it's going to be really good and interesting, and then it just like
Yeah, I've
all the
played
potential.
Spore.
Or
Spore.
I don't know anything about sport.
Oh man,
Hey,
Spore is another like evolution game. All right.
that's a Peter Molyneux joint, isn't it?
Oh, I don't remember.
You know who Peter Molyneux is?
Yeah,
Okay,
but
he's a.
I don't remember who Spore.
It's like I believe it was like Lionhead Studios that made the game.
Was it?
I think so. Yeah. Um, Or is
To
a
the
Will. It's a
Wikipedia.
Will Wright joint. Yo, what's up, Breezles? How you doing, man?
It's an EA game.
It's an EA game.
Yeah, well, right.
Okay. All
Yep.
right. My bad.
This
Um,
this man nailed it.
Definitely did. Yo,
But
dude.
yeah, so like Spore
Hmm?
starts out really cool. Like you start out as a cell
Mm-hmm.
and you kill other cells and like absorb them and shit to like evolve different things and features. And then you eventually become a creature.
Right.
And so each time you change your stage in quotes,
Hmm?
the game plays differently.
Oh.
So like the cell stage is just like this top down little thing where you're like eating other cells and killing other cells and stuff like that and growing and absorbing.
Hmm?
And then the creature stage hits and it's more of like uh an MMO type thing and you're still killing things or like eating things or whatever. You could be a herbivore, right? So you could just like eat plants and stuff to level up instead.
Yep.
But then
Hold on one second.
hits the tribal stage. What?
Yo, Breezles, if you want, you can still join us on Discord if you like. I'll be more than willing to
Yeah.
set you up, man. Uh, but go ahead, Quintessence.
Okay, so
Tribal stage.
after the creature stage, which plays kind of like an MMO, you enter the tribal stage. Now the game's an RTS, and you basically play a tribe of whatever creature you ended up with the end of the creature stage.
Right.
And this is still decently fun, but then the game goes to complete and utter garbage after the tribe stage.
Right.
You enter the civilization stage. And now you just have like a really, really boring like city building stage. And then after that really boring city building stage, you go to space
Right.
for a really boring like little spaceship flying around and destroying planets or traveling to them.
Oh yeah.
Like at its core it should be super interesting and super fun,
Right.
but they just do it so like irrationally and weird. The game was basically just way too ambitious,
Yeah.
and that shot it in the foot.
I've never actually played that game. Hard for me to say.
Yeah, Spore is a really weird one.
Yo, Breeze, how you doing, man?
Doing all right. Sorry, I actually did just fall asleep way until 6 o'clock, and I
It's all good.
just
We
yeah,
actually I actually figured that you had fallen asleep.
Shit happens, dude.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah, man, all good.
Yeah.
Gotta fix
How'd
up.
you feel about Spore, Breezles?
Um, yes, Spore was definitely one of those games that my cousin was definitely just he was more than excited for, and he actually defends Spore to this day, and has like his
Really?
mentality is
Wow.
like it's kind of like all EA's fault.
Oh,
Then again, he is a big like SimCity 2000 fan,
Oh, okay.
so
Well,
he he
you know.
he he he, he defends the idea of Spore and everything that Spore represented, like to a T.
Well, that's
but
fine
he
as long as he
he
doesn't defend the actual game, because the actual game
he
is a
he,
mess.
he to a certain extent he actually likes the game. It's
Okay.
like, yeah, but you just don't be a pacifist in Spore because that shit's really difficult.
Right.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
don't be a herbivore in Spore
Being a
because
herbivore is suicide. It's
you
it's you just die.
yeah you can't interact with other creatures.
Yeah, you just get ruined.
Yeah, a carnivore just destroys you.
But like Spore was I would have rather they just focused on like 2 or 3 gameplay styles instead of trying to incorporate like 6.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very ambitious
'Cause
idea
it
for
was
a
bare
game.
bones. It was bare bones as hell for each individual mode. Like, you're the cell. Okay, cool. You just kind of run around and ram into other cells, absorb them, or kill them. Cool. Done. Creature stage. Plays like a really shitty MMO.
Yeah,
Alright, done. Tribal stage. Lackluster RTS. Okay. Civilization stage. Really, really, really bad SimCity. Like, really bad.
it is actually really bad. SimCity.
How you doing, Lux?
And then you're off to the races in space where you do nothing but fly around, visit empty planets, and blow up planets.
Good.
Yay.
Good. Hey guys, I'm gonna grab a drink real quick. I will be right back. Okay. I should.
I'm well,
My
Lux.
throat is starting to get super dry. Hold up. You guys don't mind.
No, Spore.
Spore was an interesting time in gaming.
It was. Like, I remember when they were hyping it up, and I was like, oh, this game's gonna be sick. It didn't exactly deliver.
Yeah, it was definitely one of the. It was definitely one of those.
It was just too simplistic for each individual stage. I think that was its major downfall.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was definitely that.
And the evolution balancing was just non-existent.
Oh no.
I evolve spikes. Melees literally can't kill me anymore, and they die when they try.
I mean, I do know that a lot of people really like the creature evolution.
Mhm.
That part a lot of people like that customizing like your own
Oh yeah, it just
like
led to a bunch of penises.
unfortunately, yes, it did lead to a bunch of penises running around.
Because
But
then you can connect to the internet, right?
Oh shit. So it's
and
basically
some other people's shit would show up in your area.
basically Soul
So you
Calibur
just
6 is
have
what you're
like
saying.
penises walking around. And you're like, okay, all right, I
yeah.
kind of see where you're going with for this guy. It's a ranged projectile user that shoots. Oh, okay,
It
Perm.
shoots web
clever.
out. Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of people had the same. Admittedly, it's a funny idea. It's just when everyone does, it's like, okay, this is what it is now.
It sticks.
Yeah,
It's just a bunch of
it's
penis.
penises. Yeah,
Word. I mean, at the end of the day, really, you know, what
yeah.
everything comes down to. You know what I'm saying?
It's all dicks at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yo, Breezles, how was your week,
That's
man?
fine, Lux.
My week was pretty.
Bunch of people like the game.
My week was pretty all right. It's got did a couple. Got back into a couple streams, and they did. Uh, Not only were the streams kind of fun, you know, considering I was playing Tekken a lot of those streams, which Tekken could be very much not fun
Yep.
because at a certain point, I kind of expect a little bit more out of myself as far as like results. But that's just kind of the mentality I have to kind of just keep improving and like having like results and like bearing fruits of my labor.
Right.
Breezles wants to improve, not get carried by a character. Julia doesn't work.
Oh, bro. Starting fights in the chat. Well, I mean, you know, I feel like I've had the same problem forever where like
The joke, Lux.
I used to get really mad at Tekken or fighting games in general. And you know, that's why I only have like 2 PS3 controllers. But but you know, I basically I have done my best not to get angry about fighting games. I still get mad, but you know, I don't let it, you know what I
Fighting
mean?
games. Fighting games suck. I hate fighting
I
games.
just have to reprogram myself to be like, all right, I'm angry. Why am I angry? What happened? What went wrong? Instead of just being like, fuck this game. You know what I
This
mean?
guy cheese dicked me, and I'm not having any of it.
You know what? This guy's better than me. That's what I have to say. He's better than me. I lost because I didn't know how to deal with it.
It's
I go
my
through
fault
it. It's my
for
fault.
just eating the same move 8 times in a row.
You know, like
It's
I
just
could have
how it
blocked, but
is.
I didn't. Really is what it comes down to. I don't like, dude. Why would you want to block? Really, fun to press buttons. Okay.
It is very fun. It's very fun to press buttons, especially you just find yourself just mashing out death fists
I
as
love
fast as you
buttons.
can.
I'm in negative.
Exactly, Lux. They're not better. They just cheese. I've never truly lost. They just cheesed.
That's how I feel about facing the Williams sisters. Is like,
Oh my
everyone
god, yeah.
says this is just cheese, and I go into it. It's like, all right, you turned on your lag switch.
Yeah, right? The 3-bar
It,
requirement.
it was like this
I
is
could
the
have
most
sworn it was 5 bars when I clicked yes.
this is the most cap of 4 bars I've ever seen in my life, and it's like,
Crouching Tiger, hidden Wi-Fi.
and they beat you, and they just fucking stomp on your dead body because the Williams sisters do that.
Oh
Yes,
right, yeah, I
right.
forgot
What's with
about that.
every single one of them doing that? And every Anna player just watches the fucking outro, like, yes, yes, your character's very
Yeah,
sexual. I get it. It's cool. Grats.
like
Bunch of shaker tatas. Just that just comes with the territory.
I've
Playing
been doing the
Anna.
same thing for like 25 years. You get kind of.
Right?
Bro, I
Doesn't
don't
even have much to shake.
I don't understand. Those characters literally don't stop pressing buttons. It drives me nuts. Like I know it's my fault because I don't understand them. I know it's my fault. But still.
Going back into the older games, like with a couple members of my friend group, and what? Part of their archetype is those characters don't work unless you're mashing buttons.
Right.
Like you
Yeah.
try to play it as a very disciplined Tekken player. It's things you are taught that's kind of drilled into your head, and they really don't apply to like being an effective Williams player because they're very counter hit oriented, and they're very string oriented, and you can't counter hit them unless you're mashing their like 3 hit strings that are either like mid low highs or low high mids.
Right. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like every time I play them, I realize how much I don't fucking know about any of the Williams.
It's just the fact that nobody plays them. Like really, people don't play them enough.
Like I'm still pretty
Yeah.
sure that I Love Ryan Gosling is the only player in the world. I'm pretty sure.
I know that she's not the only Nina player in the world, but she is the one I have like the most ready access to. And normally she just plays Anna, and Anna is another complete can of worms. It's like all right, I have an unseeable mix-up coming up, and they're both launchers.
But if you guess right, she dies.
If you guess right, she does die, but it's not like a stagger. Not like all right, it's not like it's a stagger low. So my brain's just doing the dial-up, AOL noises. Like, oh yeah, launch.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do
Like
feel that way about Steve too. I never play any Steve players either besides Lux.
One thing I understand with Steve is like, all right, a lot of them really like to just counter hit fish, and their counter hits are highs. So I have a lot of high crushing moves that I can just throw out without using any of my brain power, and it tends to work. Especially if they like to back one people going in, and that's why I use my forward sway one.
God, I eat that back one every
I do
time. I'm
too,
just
yeah.
like, back one's dessert.
I don't know about back ones, man.
I
It's like
mean,
a fucking full
a lot of
course
King and
meal
Armor King
of
players
back
throw out back
ones.
one like it's going out
Yeah, I
style
I eat
too.
that one too. I also eat the Paul down forward two, down forward two. Yep.
Yeah, because you think you can whiff punish in that game.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
you think you can whiff punish, and
I
the answer
think it's
is
my turn, but it's not.
no. You're just not good enough to whiff punish that move. It can be done. I have been whiff punished for mindlessly doing like, all right, I'm going to down forward two into down forward two, and they just like, all right, I'm going to do a hop, skip, and a jump just to get into range where he thinks he can throw it out again, and they're like, boom.
Hmm.
The fuck?
Are you
Oh
sure? Are you
man.
sure it just wouldn't be like offline that we could maybe punish that
I see it
Offline,
work in pro tournaments, so
you
online?
questionable.
people tend to very much misjudge like the recovery of like down forward two and Paul's backsway forward. Backsway four not only is a very good homing high counter hit launcher that's plus on block. People tend to forget that it's plus on block and they like to press buttons and challenge me. But it also whiffs incredibly well. So one of the things as I play as Paul as a keep out character, one thing that beats keep out characters in Tekken is whiff punishment. But if you have a move that whiffs incredibly well, then you can catch people trying to whiff punish. Yeah, you just catch people trying to whiff punish you. Like a lot of Mishima players that are really gung ho on, like, hey, I learned how to electric consistently, so I'm going to go in and electric him, and then
Mhm.
catching them trying to electric you is one of the funniest things in Tekken.
Now, I gotta ask, uh, what got you into playing video games?
Um, okay,
Where'd you start?
that's a big question. Well, I probably would not have played video games as early as I did. If my brother didn't have video games to begin with, because the first game I ever like laid my little baby fingers on was Mario Paint.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
Bam,
and
bam, bam,
I
bam,
I
bam.
can't tell you how many times I destroyed the Super Nintendo mouse. I'm probably responsible in like 5 of those things no longer existing in this world.
Oh,
It's like
Okay.
they're just
a weird game to rage about.
no. It's just like
Making
I would
art.
just take the mouse around. It's like just dip it in my parents' coffee.
What?
Apparently,
I
I was a little shit child. I don't remember it, but that's what people tell me. So
You
Well,
do sound like a little shit.
we
No
usually just
lie.
we kind of skip over the bad things usually. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
we skip over the bad things in our mind.
I don't. I get reminded the bad things every night before I go to sleep.
Hold on, Breezles. Let me go. Keep going.
All right, and then so that was kind of like the start of it. The start of it. So that was like mid to late 1993 when I just started, doing doodles on the TV screen. And then my
Doodling.
grandmother, who was also a very big fan of video games.
Talking about one of these guys?
Yep. Yep. Oh man, I remember those.
Yeah, I still have this guy and Mario Paint. Anyway, go on.
So yeah, my brother had like his like set of Super Nintendo games, like some of which have survived to this day. One of them being a copy of Final Fight 1, which is not a good port, by the way.
Yep.
That is
Trash.
it is needlessly
Dumpster.
difficult for all the wrong reasons.
Still got that arcade difficulty.
No
Still
two
got the
player.
arcade difficulty, no two-player, limited continues. The trifecta. The trifecta.
No, we don't really know what to do with this port, so here's just like
I will say this:
a direct copy.
we're trying to recreate the arcade game. Like as far as looks go, they did a pretty decent job. Even though they had to omit an entire stage. But Capcom was really bad about launch titles on Nintendo. If they didn't completely outsource it, like they did with 1943 and Ghosts and Goblins, those games that really are kind of jank compared to the rest of the Capcom catalog. And I wouldn't have figured that out if it weren't for this one YouTube channel. His name's Jeremy Parrish. If you guys haven't seen or haven't checked that channel, and I highly recommend it for someone who just goes into a deep dive into every NES game possible.
Hmm.
It's an ongoing series, and he understands that it's a project that he will probably never finish, but it's one of those labor of love things. There's a lot of information there that I never knew about, so I'm like, oh, cool. But back to my story. So yeah, my grandmother really, really loved video games. So she had her Super Nintendo in the cellar, and the cellar is already just a creepy place, and I hated going down to the cellar. I hated going down the stairs because it was really dark. But I fell down the stairs quite a bit, so I was like, man, I hate going down there. Just want to stay up here.
Go down there real good.
Yeah, I went down there really, really good.
Oh my god, I can tell I haven't slept because I'm laughing at all these silly things. I mean, go on.
But they're funny.
They are pretty funny. Yeah.
Are you saying
But-
Breezles isn't funny?
No,
I feel it's kinda
I'm
rude.
saying that I'm not saying anything. Go on.
Yeah.
There.
So that's where I kind of experienced oh yeah, Donkey Kong Country 2 is really, really hard. Because we had a save file, and my cousin and I would try to beat the final boss, and yeah, that was not happening. Then again, we were very much little kids. But it was because of my grandmother that I got a Nintendo 64 at Christmas on that year. So, and that's when things really started to get going. So I got Mario 64 at the height of that zeitgeist.
Oh damn.
So I played a lot of Super Mario 64 at this time. And that
Great
kind of
game.
it just kind of evolved over time. Actually the first Zelda the first Zelda game that I ever actually played was A Link to the Past, but I never actually figured out how to really. I didn't wrap my head around that game because I was still just a little kid.
How to
I was able
actually
to
play.
Yeah, fair
and
enough.
then the new Zelda game that I actually got, in the N64 era, was Majora's Mask, but we kind of ran into the problem that we can't play this game because the N64 doesn't have enough RAM.
Oh, they had that RAM
The-
expansion thing.
Yeah, so I
Yeah,
was
that's pretty rough.
so I was like,
The
Mom, we
expansion pack.
need to actually get Donkey Kong 64. So because it came with the RAM expander, and and Donkey Kong 64 is kind of a fun game.
Yeah.
It's not the best product that Rare put out on the N64, but it was definitely not, a bad game.
Right.
Far from it. And then I got the GameCube after that. Just had played a lot of games that I don't have anymore, and I'm upset.
Were you a Nintendo boy, through and through?
I was a Nintendo boy kind of through and through. My brother, he had the PlayStation,
Hmm.
but we didn't have a memory card, so
Oh shit.
we tried to beat Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and that wasn't working out.
That's a rough one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because if for those of you who don't know, if you die in Castlevania Symphony of the Night, it just takes you right back to the title screen. If you can't save your
Yeah.
game, then you have to go through the first part as Richter over and over and over and over again. That's how that scene's always kind of like burned into my memory. It's like,
Die,
how do you beat this
monster.
game? Die, monster! You don't belong in this world. It was not by my hand that I was once again given flesh, and so on and so on.
Also, more like teasers of how powerful Alucard is.
Yeah, teasers of how powerful Alucard is, and death just takes all of your equipment away. I'm like, man, Alucard kind of sucks.
Now he
Uh,
sucks.
it's like I have to do how much just to do what second castle? What? Like, yeah, I didn't know about the second castle until like many, 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 many years later. But so yeah, and then we had a PlayStation 2, which was kind of dope because we got a memory card this time
Nice.
at launch. So we got it around launch as well. So like I was playing like Jack and Daxter: The Precursor Legacy.
That's a good game.
I love that
like
game.
That was I love that game as well.
Where's my remake of that game? Gimme.
I feel like they'll give you Jack 2 long before they give you that game.
I'll take that also. I really enjoyed Jack 2.
Yeah, but like, I don't know, man.
And I had very negative feelings about like the direction Jack 2 went like at during that time because I was kind of against all like the edginess of everything. But then again,
Oh,
I also wasn't old enough to be edgy at that time. I was like 11 years old when like Jack 2 came out.
right.
Also, my brother kind of commandeered like the PlayStation 2. That was his console. And
Yeah,
he
so
had like he had
Yep.
his games for it.
Yep.
So he
didn't want to like what he liked.
well, not only that, but he would be playing it all the time. So I was like, all right. And memory cards only had so much save data on them. Still,
Yup, very
like
small.
8 MB.
like we got to the point where our parents actually got us the memory cards, but they wouldn't get us the good ones. So I got the GameCube, and it was around this time, I also kind of got into Animal Crossing because it came with a memory card. But Animal Crossing just took up the entire memory card it came with.
Yeah, because they only had like the white ones back in the day.
It came with the white ones, but it's like, all right, they knew that Animal Crossing would just completely dominate any other memory card that you would just have.
Yup. Gotta have your dedicated Animal Crossing card.
Yeah, you had to have your dedicated, which they kind of like in like Animal Crossing on the GameCube. They kind of treat it like Pokemon. You just go to a friend's house who also had Animal Crossing, stick your memory card in slot B, and then you would have people come visit your town and things like that. That's how the connectivity play, like real old school, like real Pokemon like.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And then once you got into Animal Crossing Wild World, then you didn't have to do that anymore. It was just you do local download play for that, and then every subsequent Animal Crossing game, it was just you use the like actual internet. But it was nice. It was kind of cool to be there for like the very first progression of it all.
Yeah, man.
And then after the GameCube, like I ended up having like a Wii. Like I was lucky enough to get one in 2006.
How?
Like I have to thank my cousins who stood in line, who would stand in line for like I don't know how many hours just to get it, and so my aunt could ship it to not only myself but my cousin my cousin as well. And that
It's
and
awesome.
because of the Wii, I kind of got into like this whole retro games like phase. Like I incorporated the virtual console quite a bit. So I kind of was able to start playing games that I missed out on the first go around. Like playing a lot of classic NES games. Like I was in a huge like old school Mega Man kick.
Oh yeah. Because Mega Man like 9 and 10 came out.
Yeah, around that time 9 and 10 came out. I was a big fan of 9. It's very good,
Plays
but
Proto
then
Man.
again, Proto Man was a lot of fun, but Proto Man's also made out of tissue paper.
Couldn't you play as bass in 9?
You played as bass in
Oh, that's
10.
right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
No, bass. Now that's a fun character because he can
Bass
shoot
and
in
treble?
all
Awesome.
he can yeah, bass can shoot in all 8 directions, which is just you don't understand how much you need that when you're just dealing with just regular ass Mega Man. He just shoots in front of him. Like bass can kind of just stand there and just bullet hell his way through things. Bass sucks against bosses, but bass is great against regular ass enemies.
Yeah.
And
Um,
around
Ah, yeah,
after
it was in 10.
yeah,
Okay, yeah.
and after this point, then I went. Then I was then I was doing like my thing in high school. Playing like video games here and there. I and then when I like after like my first year of college, that's when I started getting into like really starting to get into fighting games because like I played fighting games as almost kind of like a curiosity because in my youth like we had like Street Fighter 2 Turbo. We had that game which was a lot of fun. It's still a lot of fun to this day. We had Primal Rage, Mortal Kombat 3, and the N64 expansion, Mortal Kombat Trilogy. So Killer Instinct. Like my cousin and I would play these games, and we fell in love with like a lot of these classic characters. We didn't know what the hell we were doing. We really didn't. We had to look. We had to go onto the internet just to figure out what the special moves were because you know we didn't have like the foresight to read the instruction manual. Like, all right, how do you do anything in these games? Because at that and because of that I gravitated towards characters like Blanca and E Honda because they had special moves that you could do by just mashing the buttons. Like
so was there like a moment where you're like, you know what, I want to try fighting games in college? Like, what was the exact moment where you're like, yeah, I want to do this?
the first like one of the first moments was like after like around like 2012 like my cousin and I were kind of invited to um a Smash tournament at my local game store, which is no longer there, unfortunately. And so
Oh,
we
you hate
went
to see
there
it.
and we entered and we saw what how Super Smash Brothers Melee can be played, and that was the game that my cousin and I put a lot of hours into. It's like, wow, there's like this whole new world to that game that we didn't know about.
Why does it look different than the way we play it?
Like, why does it look so completely different?
Yep.
And then that started like that whole rabbit hole where my cousin and I got like pretty competent for at that particular time, as far as like how melee goes. And then my cousin was during this whole time, my cousin was really into Street Fighter 4. He got Street Fighter 4 at launch, so he had like vanilla Street Fighter 4.
Oh.
And I was like, I don't really feel like playing that game. And then he had like Super Street Fighter 4, and he's like, "Hey, you want to play this with me?" I'm like, "No." I would do like other things, like, and it's like, "Hey,
Anything
there's this
else?
fighting game that we never seen. It was called Garo." It's like, "All right, I'll play Garo with you," because the reason I didn't like Street Fighter 4 is like I thought Street Fighter 4 looked like butt cheeks.
Oh, okay.
And I still have that same feeling to this day. Like, those characters look like I don't even know.
Some are a little homely. All right.
Yeah, they are very, yeah.
Yeah, I
And
see. I feel very differently about it, but that's okay. Go on.
I mean, going from like the images that you like always associate with Street Fighter to you see them making those dumbass faces.
Oh, you mean like before the ultra like hits or
Yeah,
something like that?
before the ultra hits,
Yeah.
and we around this time, like, Arcade Edition and like Ultra didn't come out yet, so it didn't have a chance to look exactly the same. But my cousin and I played Garo together, and he actually, at this point, he actually had an arcade stick, and I was just playing on
Uh-oh.
regular pad. And of course, this asshole picks fucking Kane against me. And like, dude, this is totally a boss character, and you're just using it to kick my ass.
Ain't so weird.
Kane is very weird. And then we started playing.
Special place in hell for people who pick boss characters.
And then after that, I was like, all right. Like, every time. At that point, like, the gauntlet was thrown down. Like, the gauntlet was completely thrown down. And I said to myself, all right, the next time I play fighting games with this dude, like, it's, I'm going to try to just try and beat this dude. Like, I'm not going to try to do anything flashy or cool. It's like I'm just going to be all business and just beat this dude. Which, like, for a long part of the early part of my fighting game life, that didn't really work out because I ended up having like this huge like character crisis because
Love those.
yeah, I was like, all right. I went back to the things that I knew. Like, all right, I'll try E Honda in Street Fighter 4. And I'm just going to mash 100 hand slap and just hold forward because like in Street Fighter 2 Turbo, you can move around while doing 100 hand slap.
Oh yeah, you
Like, you can
slide
move around,
forward. Yeah.
you can slide forward or backwards. So you can like go in for pressure or you can go back for keep out. It was kind of like an all-encompassing move. This was around the time where E Honda was not a grappler yet. He did not have grapple. He didn't have a command grab.
Okay.
But Honda didn't work that way in Street Fighter 4. So I was trying to think of who I was trying to pick. I think I was trying to pick like the Final Fight characters, which didn't really.
Like Guy or Cody or
Yeah, Guy or Cody. I was trying to trying to understand how Guy worked, but I wasn't able to put one and one together. Like, it was still like a completely foreign language to me. To me, it was like, all right, I'm just gonna hit buttons. And
Hell yeah,
then
buttons.
yeah, and then my cousin made a suggestion to me that would change like the entirety of like my 2D fighting game life. In I don't remember what year it was, but he said like, "Hey man, like I think I found the character for you." And I'm like, "All right, what is it?" And it's like, "Pick Zangief." It was like, Zangief. It's like, I just remember Zangief being like kind of booty in Street Fighter 2. Like, all right, how does this character work? He's like, all right, there's this thing called spinning pile driver called SPD. It beats everything, and it has range that you could not possibly imagine. It's like, all right, I'm listening. I'm listening. It's like all you need to do is figure out is like how to do the spinning pile driver consistently without actually jumping. And all
Just
you
have to
have to
do a
do,
360. Don't worry.
Churn that butter.
yeah. Well, in reality, you don't even have to do a 360. All you have to do is like about a about 190-degree motion.
It's like half circle,
It's half circle. You
like
could do a half.
720.
You could do a half circle starting from forward all the way to like slightly up back
Yep.
because of how the inputs like work. Like diagonal inputs count at a diagonal input will count as an up input. So that is kind of like the cheat as far as that goes.
I didn't know that. Interesting.
Yeah, so like
You-
essentially like when Zangief does his like thing and he's pressing up, like part of his grab he has to be in the air, which is why like
like
some
yeah,
Go
yeah.
on.
You essentially you are canceling your pre-jump frames with the command throw.
Which is why like you see like a lot of or like early like Zangief players, like new Zangief players are jumping a lot when they don't mean
Yeah,
because they keep trying to spin SPD.
yeah, they're trying to like throw an SPD at like ranges that is like they would theoretically work, but you know they messed up and ended up jumping. And jumping in Street Fighter is not a good idea. It's not like I understand sometimes you have to jump over the fireball because some characters blow ass and that's all they can do.
Uh,
But yeah, jumping in general in Street Fighter will lead to a lot of your health just being gone, especially if your opponent has a lot of meteor resources. I'm speaking from experience here. I did not trust how
what?
good I did not trust how good Lariat was in Street Fighter 4.
So good.
It's so good. So good. You like why wouldn't you use it?
I don't know. I mean, like you basically don't even have to jump for the most
Yeah,
part.
you
You
don't
can
you don't have to jump during the fire when especially with, like Guile players like trying to just sonic boom your way like back
yeah.
at full screen. It's like I don't have to deal with this. And when this was before
Sonic
I
boom,
realized
flash
how
kick. Sonic
absolutely
boom,
broken
flash
EX
kick.
Green Hand was. This was before I realized how absolutely busted EX Green Hand was, and it completely changes the character of Zangief.
Right.
But like when my cousin told me, like all you have to do is just practice like SPDs, get that down, and when I'm comboing you, just start churning that butter and put the onus on me to finish the combo because if I drop it, I'm going to get command thrown
Get
and I'm
thrown.
going to have to deal with all that. It's like, all right, I'll do that. And I was surprised how effectively that works. There are characters my cousin will no longer play against me. He
Oh
will
man.
not dare. He will not dare pick Akuma, and he used to be an Akuma main. But when he faces me, like I can get around like his Akuma's fireball game, even Akuma's air fireball game, and I'm okay with eating combos because you know Akuma like or Zangief has 1100 health, which is a shitload, and Akuma only has 800 health, which is nothing. I
Oh yeah, he's a
repeat,
glass
nothing.
cannon.
So if he messes up his pressure and I catch him with like heavy punch SPD, that's like a third of his health just gone. It's a lot. So he only
It's
plays
a
Ryu
lot,
or
man.
Guile against me. It's like, oh man, you really just don't want to make this fun for me. It's like I can't beat you otherwise.
Yeah,
So
the Guile Zangief matchup is like it's like as Street Fighter gets, man. It's up there.
that's it's up there.
Sonic
Uh,
boom, flash kick. Sonic boom, flash kick.
Well, like
it's
you just
Sonic
have
boom.
to. There have to bait.
yeah, the Zangief player has like Guile's trying to bait Zangief into jumping, which Zangief has like at certain ranges, like Zangief's jump is actually beneficial in baiting out like bad anti-airs.
Yeah, you bait the flash kick by
Like if you
jumping at a
bait the
certain range.
like try to bait the flash kick or trying to get them to do down fierce, which has a really good anti-air hitbox, but there's nothing. But he just goes
But
straight up. He
he
doesn't
can't
really go
cancel.
forward.
Yeah, he can't.
He, You can't empty cancel that move. So, and because of how SPD works, you're not grabbing the hitbox. You're not doing that interaction. You're grabbing something called the push box, which is basically it's another kind of box that nothing else interacts with it except like throws, which is why you're able to like grab people's limbs, like
when they throw it out.
when people are trying to throw out pokes.
Like if you can grab. I remember you can like teleport next to Dulcim if he throws out like a crouching fierce. Like if you
If you
time it
time that
correctly.
SPD, if you time it perfectly without getting hit yourself, because another important thing about SPD, it comes out in 2 frames. That is a very important fact.
Well, isn't that like light SPD does? Like that's the kind of like your main like neutral.
All SPDs do that. All SPDs are 2 frames.
Okay,
It's
I
the
thought
difference.
heavier.
The difference is like the range of like its range.
Oh yeah, well that okay. So that's what I mean is the range.
Yeah,
It's not this.
light has the best range.
Yeah,
Like heavy does the most damage, and therefore no one really uses medium
I mean,
because like you really like do you really want to judge out like the possibility like all right I'm maybe an actual medium like SPD range, so like it's not like the reward on using medium's not that great, so Zangief players just use light, medium, and um EX, or yeah, they use light, heavy, and EX because EX is throw invincible. So yeah,
yep.
your opponents can't throw loop you except for weird matchups like Abel. Abel had a field day against Zangief.
I mean,
Abel
yeah,
can invalidate a lot of things that Zangief does, but that started me becoming a grappler main in 2D fighting games, which evolved in me playing Potemkin and Guilty Gear
right.
and things like that.
Devolved.
A
And
monkey.
I was like, man, people really do hate grappler mains. And I just look at their characters, it's like, but they're they're glue eating degenerates as well. So why do I have to listen to what they have to say?
Have you ever heard of?
I'm talking to you, Cammy players.
You ever you ever heard of the purple Sharpie?
I have not heard. Well, no,
She's a
enlighten me on this.
Skullgirls player.
Oh, Skullgirls.
Yeah, she's a really good
Skullgirls.
Skullgirls player, but yeah, she's kind of infamous for hating grapplers.
Dude, there's a lot of people that go on full on rants about grapplers and that are really good content creators that I do like. Like for example, Brian F. He's a
Gaming.
very good Street Fighter player. Like started out with the grind in Street Fighter 4 and became one of the best overall players in the world in Street Fighter. He plays Balrog.
Oh well, didn't he like originally play Ken in SF4?
I do. I'm not entirely sure, but there was a lot of people. There were a lot of people playing Balrog in Street Fighter 4. And that was because of like the work of you know Gutex from Cross Counter TV.
Peace.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, go on.
Yeah.
Everyone's sad now.
So yeah, I'm now a Dirty Zangief main. And that didn't really help me in Third Strike because the only like real good grappler analog was Hugo, and my cousin decided like, I got good with playing Urian. I'm going to do Aegis unblockable setups on him on Wake Up and just have him deal with that. So around this point in Third Strike, like I couldn't parry anything, so I would just eat all of that. Also, Urian's medium fireball is supposed to be like an anti-air fireball, which at like mid-screen it won't hit people, but Hugo's so big that he actually has to block it or parry it.
Talking about Third Strike?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I was thinking of Street Fighter 5 for some reason. Anyway, go on.
I wish Hugo was in Street Fighter 5, but we got Abigail instead, who is also just a ridiculously comically big character.
Right.
So true.
So like when my Street Fighter circle kind of expanded, just a little bit, like it was my cousin and I, and then like 2 more people joined, and that was kind of the end of that. They're like, there's one particular individual, she really, really despises Zangief because all she wants to do is mindlessly press buttons as Cammy.
Oh boy. Oh, we
And
got a
then I
character
got,
for you.
and then and then it's like, all right, I'm just going to do what I do. And what I did just kind of just beats mindless buttons. It's like, this was just someone who thought they were kind of hot shit. It's like my cousin quotes, still has this quote to this day. It's like she said to him, "It's like, I beat Street Fighter 4 on the hard. I beat Street Fighter 4 arcade mode on the hardest difficulty."
Dude, I've been that
Mhm.
person. I don't feel I.
And
I've
my
been that
cousin was
person.
like, all right, breaks out his arcade stick. Does the ball rock combo where he does EX headbutt into Ultra, because EX headbutt's completely invincible. Ultra does a shitload of damage, wins, and she was like, but yeah, well, that was good. I mean, damage was kind of bullshit, and it just beat whatever I was doing. Yeah, that was good, and that started that whole thing, and like, it was like one of those things where the exact same like conversation just had to be had after every long session of Street Fighter. It's like, motherfucker, just jump, all right? I'm trying to get you to jump and you don't do it, so I'm grabbing you over and over again.
Right.
And I was like, I was trying to get like, let's like evolve like this matchup. Let's evolve on how we play against each other, which never ended up happening. The other person has to want to do that, and that requires more practice, more grinding, and a lot of people just really don't want to do that. And so we kind of dabbled in other areas of fighting games as well. It's like, all right, let's find a game that everyone can play. So she liked Marvel vs. Capcom 3. She fucked us up. And so we practiced, and she got very upset about that. It was like, hey, we're not going to play a game that we don't know just so it can make you feel better. We're going to figure out what you're doing and stop you. And then we stopped playing Marvel. Kind of the same thing with Soul Calibur. It's like, she would fuck us up, and she would fuck us up with Nightmare. It's like, all right, we're going to play Keelik and just do our shit. Which, and Keelik kind of fucks up Nightmare. Especially if you don't block low.
You like fuck.
Yeah, he kind of does.
I had no idea.
Keelik has the range to deal with Nightmare.
Dude, I don't understand Soul Calibur. Like I'm not gonna pretend like I do, but like I get some of it, but like the meta, like I haven't played it enough to be like, okay, I kind of, I don't know. I just don't get the meta of it.
Soul Calibur is a very, very simplistic game as far as like what moves you're using. It's think of Tekken, but it's like a lot easier to move, and having stupid range is very, very important.
So I mean, it kind of sounds like Sam Show.
It kind of does, except it's in a 3D space.
Right. Man, Homaru in Soul Calibur 6 sucked. Hate him.
I was hoping that he'd be good because 2B is stupid in Soul Calibur 6.
Hey guys, I just wanted to let you know that at this point, Quintessence had to step out for an emergency, so the rest of the podcast is just me and BreezlesMcCheezles.
2B is stupid to deal with. But they brought back a character that I really liked, Cassandra, which is just Sophitia again. But like for whatever reason, I wanted like Soul Calibur 6 to be more than what it was, but I kind of realized that I'm kind of beyond that point in my life where I liked Soul Calibur for like what gameplay features it had.
I mean, I like
I didn't really play Soul Calibur to play it against other people.
right.
I liked Chronicles of the Sword in Soul Calibur 3, even though it fucking corrupted my entire memory card every fucking time.
Yep.
You can't play that mode without having to format your memory card.
Chronicles of the Sword.
Yep.
Um.
That's where you play like kind of like an RTS.
I remember in 3 you're talking about?
In 3, yeah.
Sorry about that. I gotta I'm trying to fix your Cousins had to go. I don't know what happened, but he said something. Um but yeah. God damn it, dude. Of course this just happened at the worst time, but here. Bam.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So anyway.
All
Yeah,
right.
man. Chronicles of the Sword.
I haven't got to the part where I started playing Tekken. I haven't
No,
gotten to that
no,
part yet.
go ahead.
I have not gotten to that part yet. But there was like an intermediary game between like me grinding out Street Fighter, which was honestly not very long. I didn't really have any aspirations to be all that good at Street Fighter because to me, like Street Fighter mind getting to the point where you're playing Street Fighter mind games is real. You just have to figure out like how your combo routes work, and if you play grapplers, then your combo routes are very very small.
Right.
Because all you're looking for is to like punish things with command throws. That's all that you're really looking for. So that's a non-transferable skill that only works in the grappler archetype, which I'm completely fine with because like doing combos in Street Fighter 4 are fucking annoying. I really don't like how that combo system works.
In Street Fighter 4?
In Street Fighter 4, I really like if I can't chain the buttons together and I have to actually link them with very precise button presses, like, I can play Zangief and get comparable damage.
Really? Okay. Well,
With just command throws.
personally,
But that was just me being lazy.
So for me, it was that was why I loved the game. Because I loved the challenge of like trying to do difficult combos. Because to me it seemed so impractical to be able to do it at the time. Like it was like I would sit there for hours like practicing Yang's like Rekka FADC to his launcher to ultimate, and I was like I could get it like once in a blue moon, and it was just so fucking hard that I was like I want to do this one. You know what I mean? But that's me.
Yeah, but everyone kind of approaches everyone approaches a fighting game a little bit differently. Because there was a point where I was trying to like make a character like Guy work, and Guy has a lot of moving parts to him, especially how he works in neutral, how you play him defensively, like how do you mix up with this character?
Fusion style.
Yeah, all right, when you do open people up, like how's your combo tree work? And then at a certain point, I was like, I really need to like have a much simpler game plan because I was good at getting in. I was good at getting through like the Fireball War because I could if I felt patient enough I can get through. I feel I can get through like any Sagat spamming fireballs as Zangief if I'm truly patient enough to just kind of deal with it. Given enough time.
Bro, any Sagat though?
If it's not Super Turbo, because that game is cancer.
Well,
I love Super Turbo, but Super Turbo is cancer. I'll go on the record of saying that.
I mean, how far you want to take this statement? Cause like, I mean, if we get you and then we get Sanford Kelly, we're gonna get you in a room together. See if you can get past his.
I've
I'm
You'll be
kidding.
shocked. You'll be shocked at
I'm
how
kidding.
much I will not jump. You'll be shocked at how much I
How
will
little
not jump.
you'll be surprised on how little you can do. No, I mean not saying that as insulting, but as in like how you know how like in neutral you want to do less. You don't want to do, you know what I mean? Like you know what I'm trying to say, man? Like
I do understand what you're trying to say, but if we're playing Street Fighter 4, I have EX Green Hand, and EX Green Hand is my get out jail free card for
that's
anything.
true.
I'm not saying I could beat Sanford. Like I never, I can't
So
beat
good.
Eddie Sagat, but I have the mentality and have the understanding that if I am going to beat Sagat, there's no way it's going to be a perfect. I'm going to sacrifice a lot of my health bar just to be able to get in and like start the vortex.
You know, they say that Ultra Zangief is the best. It's like you know you can do like the both ultimates, you know, like A and
Yeah,
B, and then you have like the option between like doing the aerial and the round.
but I find that
Do less damage though.
actually vanilla Zangief, like on paper, was the most powerful one.
Oh damn, really?
He had the unfortunate thing about a grappler super, it has two advantages. One, it has faster startup, so you have a one frame move. You have a 2 frame move now becoming a 1 frame move.
Yeah.
So you can actually punish things that hit you. For
Mhm.
example, Ken's Roundhouse Tatsu is -1 on hit. And if while he's spinning around and I'm getting like it's like bop 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 bop, is like, all right, let's get 2 circle motions in there and punch. And there's nothing he can do about it because he can't jump. He's at -1. And of
The
course,
Ken's roundhouse. You're punishing Ken's roundhouse Tatsu.
yeah, when it hits me,
Oh, okay, all right.
yeah, I'm punishing things that I get hit by.
Yeah, it's like Kali in Street Fighter Five.
Yeah.
He takes a fireball and he can do raw super.
Mm-hmm.
Bullshit. But anyway, go on.
So the advantages of a command throw super is that it's generally faster, usually frame 1, and it does a shitload of damage. Those are its advantages. So a lot of times Zangief players will not go for the super. That's not how I played. The way I played in Ultra was I would I would never use meter unless I absolutely was forced to use it. So there are a lot of situations where I just have super, and it's like, all right, and then I would just have ultra because I'm Zangief. I'm trying to get in, and people are like, no, stay out. I don't want you here. And then there'd be a situation where I am able to kind of green hand my way in, and then you are in an unseeable 50-50 for your life. It's like, if I knew they're going to jump, then I can get Ultra 2 out. Because if you're going to pick Ultra 2, just pick Ultra 2. Don't pick Ultra Combo Double. Because if you're going to make that read, you might as well just go all in on it.
Yeah.
And if they're going to stay on the ground, super. Like,
Dealer's
basically
choice.
once the animations of any of those like start, the decision's already been made. If they haven't already jumped when super, like when the super flash happened, they're getting thrown. And if they're in pre-jump frames when Ultra 2 starts, then they're going to be thrown. So that's basically that was basically my win condition at end of round situations. If I didn't have super and people would just I got to the point I got to the point where a lot of people just didn't want to jump, like while I was like all up in their face, which is as a grappler player, that's all that you're really trying to accomplish. That's all that you're really trying to condition into them.
Hmm. Not jump.
Yeah, is to get them to stay on the ground, which against people that have an idea of how the matchup works is very difficult to do. But if you're able to do it, then that's an accomplishment in and of itself.
um,
So that was my time in Street Fighter.
Breezes.
That was yeah.
So, I know that we've only gotten to Street Fighter.
Yeah.
But podcast runs till about 8. We went about like 20 minutes over. I mean, would you be willing to like come back on, and we can continue?
I would love to come back on. Because I have a lot to. Because my adventures in Tekken will be quite a story.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to hear about how like you started Tekken and everything. And I love Street Fighter. I could sit here and talk to you about Street Fighter 4 all day. Like I think that's part of that's the thing is like I like you bring up something like, oh, Street Fighter 4, oh yeah, well, there's this and this and this, and I loved watching it and all that. And but yeah, so definitely I want to have you back on so we can talk more about Tekken and other fighting games. But I mean, like Common Writer Club basically was supposed to start at 8, and like I gotta head over to the Discord.
Right.
But yeah, man, hey, I appreciate you stopping by. Where can
again, sorry for oversleeping.
No, it's okay.
That was my bad.
It's okay. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. I have been late to this podcast, and so has like other guests, and pretty much everybody that has come here has been late, as late as you have been, and that's perfectly fine. This is supposed to be fun. So, other than that, man, where can people find you, dude?
You can find me on Twitter. It's at like BreezlesMcCheezles with I got a new handle. My old handle used to be 765 Breezy, but I decided to kind of update it for when I kind of went all in on the BreezlesMcCheezles brand. And of course, you can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv.com/BreezlesMcCheezles. You will find me playing primarily Tekken 7. That is my bread and butter game. And then I also play like retro games here and there when Tekken is really not fun. When Tekken becomes not fun to stream, because don't get me wrong, I know Backlog, you understand this as well. Tekken can be very much not fun to stream after a while, and you kind of have to take a break from it.
Yeah.
So
I'm taking a break right now.
Yeah. You're almost done with Chrono Trigger, and I'm happy to see that.
Yeah, man, I can't wait to finish it. I just got Magus. I want to call him Magnus, not his name.
That's not his name.
And God damn it, I was about to say something. So what I'll do is for the podcast, since I'm gonna be posting. This is gonna go on Anchor, and then Anchor's gonna post it to Spotify and everything like that. And it's gonna be on YouTube as well. I'll put your Twitter handle and your Twitch in there, so people will be able to find you through the podcast, and definitely have you on soon to finish up your journeys through Tekken.
All
right, man. Hey, you guys have a good night. We'll be back probably tomorrow with some Chrono Trigger, and I'm thinking. And if anybody, including you, Breezles, we're gonna be heading over to the Discord to watch some Kamen Rider Club, some Kamen Rider Agito. You guys are more than welcome to stop by. I'm gonna put it in the chat really quick. Word. Other than that, guys, I hope you have a good night, and peace out, everybody.
Peace.
Bye bye.